Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we'll discuss 5 plans to make now to ensure a great summer garden. Let's get going. When I was younger, I was always told failing to plan is planning to fail. So today I just wanted to talk about 5 plans we can make right now to ensure that we have a great summer garden. The very first of those plans need to be our water plan. So here in April, what I like to do is go ahead and stretch out all of my water hoses, any devices that I use to water with. If you use any sprinkler systems, any drip hoses, any of those, it's time to make sure they haven't developed any leaks or the seals have gone bad or any of that type of stuff over the course of the winter. Because let's face it, the closer we get to the heat, the more those things are going to be hard to find. So the second plan that I advise making here in April is going to be your planting schedule. So as you can see, we have a lot of things planted already in our spring beds, and it's really important to make sure that you know when your vegetables are going to be coming out of their current bed and when the vegetables that you currently have working on from a seed, or if you're going to buy them from the store, when you plan on putting those in. So if you see down here, we have potatoes, and these will be all the way through the summer garden, but the bed we saw previously, that'll contain peppers and tomatoes. So on my calendar, I know specifically when I need to make sure we eat those greens and onions to have them out of the way for my summer plants to go in. Most of our summer crops are quite hungry, so right now is a great time to plan out your fertilizing regimen. As an example, what we like to do here on the homestead is we use a fish emulsion that we put out every 2 weeks from the time that our plants start flowering all the way through until they're kind of done producing. In addition to that, we also put out a granule organic fertilizer, and we do that every 2 months. So we'll put them in April, June, August, and October. Now we do this especially in October. The reason for that is so that it can kind of break down over the fall and into the winter. So when we go to plant our spring vegetables, they're ready to go. But as you can see, if you have a plan on how to fertilize throughout your growing season, not only is it going to benefit your summer plants, but if you plan far enough ahead, it's going to make sure you have a great fall garden as well. Weeds are the bane of any gardener's existence. So the fourth plan I wanted to discuss today is weeding. As you can see here, we like to use a lot of the oak leaves that fall from our native trees to mulch our walkways, and this keeps down most of the weeds. However, from time to time, you will have something pop up like this dandelion over here. Now, the advantage to having leaves in there is that your weeds are incredibly easy to pull. You know, they'll be growing in that leaf substrate and it's really loose. So being able to pull them out goes a long way, as opposed to having to dig them out or pull them and only partially getting the weed, only to have to deal with it again in another 2 weeks. One tip that I will give any aspiring gardener out there that is planning on trying to combat weeds is right now is a great time to start looking for things like this fella right here. You can see it's just a bit of a sprout, and if we pull him now, we can go ahead and get all the root. So part of that plan is going to be proactive early in the year. Make sure now in April that you're covering your walkways and that sort of thing. And if you have a big enough buffer between your actual garden itself and where the outside of your garden is and your actual plants, you can even use something like a Roundup or that sort of stuff if you need to. I'm always a little hesitant to do so because here in Zone 7B, we're close to the river, and we get a lot of wind. So we are forced to do things by hand more often than not, and that makes it all the more important to actually have a plan to get rid of the weeds. The fifth and final plan that I recommend making here in April is deciding what you want to do with your abundance of harvest. Now here on the homestead, we like to can most of the things we freeze. We also dehydrate a few things here to save for the winter time. Regardless of what you want to do, now is a great time to decide on how you want to do that, especially if you want to try canning. The reason being is the last few years, if you wait until the beginning of June or even worse, the beginning of July, a lot of the supplies that you need for canning have either sold out completely, or the few retailers that remain having them are just asking way more than they should be for those things. So if you go ahead and buy them now before the big rush, you'll make sure that you get market price, or perhaps even get lucky and find a sale on those items. As always, I want to say thank you to everybody who stuck it out here till the end. Till next time, I hope all you folks take care of yourselves. Peace.